you guys know, I've been really diving into the welding and fabrication side of the building on these cars. The 240 has a lot of spaghetti fab work on it. It's pretty bad. There's a bunch of meatball welds all over the place. It's not pretty. It's not pretty. So what I've been using is just a cheap MIG that I got from Tractor Supply or something for a couple $100. But now I am stepping it up to probably the baddest welding setup ever. I will literally never have to buy a different welder because what I got back here is the best of the best. Top of the line stuff. So I made a post on Instagram. I was looking at a TIG welder to get into the TIG stuff, of course, because MIG welding is only so good. You can only go so far. And my buddy Mitchell with the LS Escalade reached out to me. He was like, hey, you really need to reach out to the Fronius guys. Here's my contact. These guys are awesome. And they hooked it up. Huge thanks to Mitchell for that, because without him, I would never have gotten this setup. So go check out Mitchell's channel. He's got a really badass, like 10,000 horsepower Escalade or something that's probably gonna be deep into the 8s at some point knowing him. But let's open up this welding setup. Just look at these boxes. A cart, jackets, all kinds of badass stuff, new helmet, MIG welder, TIG welder, water cooler. We're gonna be able to do everything now. Aluminum, whatever, stainless, titanium, MIG weld, TIG weld, all with these Fronius machines. I cannot wait to tear into them. So I'm gonna put the camera on a tripod. We're gonna tear it up. I don't know which one is which yet. One of them's a lot heavier than the other. I'm sure they're labeled, but I don't know. I'm just gonna start opening. I'm too excited. You guys can see I got my Freedom LS Nasty shirt on. Hopefully I win that Mustang. That's my goal. Here is the TIG welder. So this is like the cream of the crop TIG welder right here, with the water cooler attached to the bottom already. So this thing's ready to go. I'm not gonna pretend I know what I'm talking about, but that's the fun of learning, is I'm not an expert. You're gonna see me do things that are extremely questionable, but I'm gonna be doing them with the best machines on the market now. So I'm so pumped for that. So basically this TIG gun, from what I've heard and seen and read about, is like the best TIG gun ever. You can control everything right here. There's a light on it. The thing twists. I'm scared to even touch it. This is way nicer than anything I've ever owned. I'm gonna have to have somebody come down and show me how to TIG weld a little bit, because whole kit with all different kinds of stuff that I'll need. This is way more advanced than my freaking MIG welder, the old metal hot glue gun where you just spray and pray. For my argon, I got the water cooler. As you guys could tell from my other videos, I wasn't wearing the proper welding safety equipment, so Fronius also sent me their glove kit, a jacket, so that I can actually weld properly, a fresh visor. This visor is so sick looking. It looks so sleek. It's Bluetooth. All of their stuff has Bluetooth. Even like this foot pedal for the TIG is all Bluetooth, so you don't have to worry about an extra wire just being in your way when you're like welding a cage or under the car welding something. You can just kind of, you know, pick it up with your foot and move it really easily. This stuff is like so awesome. I've only heard good things about the foot pedal. All right, next up we have this Mac Daddy MIG welder. You guys know I like to MIG some things, but never tried using such a good one until this guy. Honestly, this is a little more badass than I expected because I didn't realize that they were sending me this Transfield 2200. This is a really awesome machine. Wow. Again, with that same power wire setup, all different kinds of power wires, so no matter what you're trying to plug into, they got you. Oh my goodness. This thing weighs like nothing. See that there? It can do so much. TIG, stick, MIG weld, whatever. So many settings. You can even MIG weld aluminum with these, which is really cool for if you're doing like a trailer or like an aluminum hull boat or something and you need to lay that down like a big bead. Here's the torch. This torch is freaking beefy. It's got a swivel on it. It is way beefier than the one that I use right now. This thing's so serious. The quality of this stuff is out of this world. Like I can't believe it. I'm so impressed. This thing I'm really excited about. My welding cart right now is pretty terrible. The bottle's basically always about to fall over and it just doesn't really roll very well and it doesn't hold much stuff. So they sent me theirs and their setup is really unique and really cool. Take a look. Yeah, it's already all put together. I love when I don't really have to do things. But just take a look at this. It's so simple and so smart. It's like a hand truck. That's just so smart. You put the bottle over here, then you put your welder right here. I get all this stuff set up and put it all together, clean up my welding area and make it full-blown Fronius welding area now. I'm really pumped to be a part of the Fronius team and I'm so glad that they entrusted me to use their products in a decent way, even though they knew that I was such an amateur. So go check out their stuff. Since there's a tank on the back, everything will fit so nicely on this rolly cart. So freaking convenient to just have it like this. So if I'm ever doing something, you know, like my house in the yard area, I can just roll this up there. Or like the other day when I was working out in the yard, I could easily just roll this out there. The MIG setup is probably going to go on the old cart, but I don't see myself using the MIG as much because this guy is so freaking badass that I'll probably only want to use that. And that's what I've heard from a lot of people is once you go TIG, you kind of don't go back. So just to compare quality a little bit, let's give you guys a look here. So this is the grounding clamp for my new welder, the new MIG. It's like really thick gauge wire. Like that takes a ton of clamping force. So that'll clamp down onto anything. This is the old grounding wire from the old welder I was using. Very different. That's a huge difference right there. And now let's show you guys the torches. Look at the torch difference. That's just insane. So to finish off today's video, we're going to be doing some stuff on the Camaro because I don't want to just fool with this welding stuff until I have a 100% perfect idea of what I'm doing. And you guys can tell from all of my other welding jobs, everything else, that I'm a novice. So I'm going to talk to a professional. But to finish off the video, we're diving into these two Motion Raceworks boxes and we're diving into that there Camaro. As you guys could obviously tell from the racing videos, I need two things. I need to get better traction off the line and I need to stop better up top. So I'm going to do a bar change on the lower control arms of the Camaro and I'm going to put a parachute on. I like being able to stop easily and a parachute is pretty much the only answer for that. So here's the Motion Raceworks kit. So this guy right here replaces the rear crash bar. This is the launcher, which is pretty awesome. And this is the parachute. I went with a CO2 style launcher because they're a lot easier to pack. They launch way nicer. They just like catapult out of the car instead of just like the normal spring launcher ones that might drag across the ground a little bit before they finally open up all the way. And then we also got their billet handle, which is really awesome. It even just goes right to a cage or something, so I'll probably put it over my head or something like that, figure out where the nicest spot to go is. And then here is the CO2 kit and the cable and all their fittings. Really well thought out kit. So the only thing is, this kit is for a normal style launcher, and I have the CO2 style. So we're gonna have to modify it a little bit, which won't be that bad. I'll just be able to kind of probably put it like that, and then bolt it in those two spots and drill a couple extra holes down here. Nothing crazy. The nice thing is the parachute goes down here, so I'm not changing anything structurally. This just holds it up. Doesn't have to be that sturdy up here, just down here, and I'm not changing that at all. It's still gonna have this exact same style. Let's get to work on that. Start pulling off the rear bumper off this thing, put it up on jack stands. It's a little dark back here, but I got a bunch of outlights that I'll be replacing the ballast on tomorrow, so that'll be nice. And then it'll be a lot brighter in here once there's fresh ballast back in there. So, time to get under the rear end of this thing. Thankfully, I have my brightest light in the world right here. So as you can see, I already have the Motion Raceworks CO2 kit in here. So it'll be nice to just add CO2 to the parachute. It'll be a super easy run. Probably put the parachute handle up here somewhere maybe, or maybe down by my arm over there. I gotta see where I like it the best, where it's easiest to get to. Probably by the shifter, but I'm not 100% sure yet. Figured I would slide under here and show you guys what we're working with. I got the Midwest chassis 9-inch back here, some Viking coilovers. Up there, I got a ATF Speed built Power Glide with a badass dump valve on it. Check them out. Those freaking Power Glides and the dump valves and converter that they spec down for this thing is so awesome. This 9-inch has taken a lot of abuse already, and I figured I would slide under and make sure everything was tight. Everything seems pretty tight. On today's job, that lower control arm bolt is going to go down one notch because it'll help bite on the leave a little bit. This is what it looks like under here. We got our fuel cell back here, fuel pump back here that feeds the mechanical pump. I noticed there may have been a little rubbing right here. There's two spots that it looked like it might have been touching. So I broke out the old 3-pound hammer. Now I'm doing some clearancing. It's pretty nasty looking in here. There was a couple spots it was touching. Clearance those up too when I got the hammer out. You can see I've done some clearancing in the past. Let's get to modifying. First time pulling this here bumper off, and these guys don't look OEM. Yeah, that doesn't look like an OEM screw right there. This like webbing deal to help with crash protection doesn't really need to be there anymore because this car is not really street car as it used to be. So this is what I was worried about here. So my water tank for the intercooler comes out like this. Yes, and I kind of suspected that once I put this guy on, it was going to interfere with it. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to get this closer to there. There's two fittings in between this and the water tank, so if we could just like weld a bung on or something, it would definitely be a lot better. Trying to figure it out still. So yeah, that's what I get to deal with. It's not that big of a problem, so figure something out for it. So I ended up having to pull out the ice tank here so that I can get that guy on and then weld a bung onto the ice tank. This is becoming more of a job than I had hoped, but I kind of expected it to not be as easy as it should have been due to my poor placement of things. So that was all done with the bumper still on those holes. So I'm gonna clean them up now while I have the opportunity. Get that bung welded on, put the ice tank back in, put the parachute mount on, cut the bumper, all that fun stuff. It's a early morning here, drinking some black coffee like usual. Time to get to work. This is probably one of the most difficult decisions I've ever had to make in this car. where do I want to put the billet motion parachute handle? Do I want it kind of over here near the shifter? Some people probably would say that's a terrible spot. Do I want it up here on the head bar? Or maybe like over here, something like that. I don't know what's easiest to get to. I'm gonna do some looking here. Here's a little tip. If you're like me and you work on 14 different projects at once, just get a couple of these little bucket things from like the dollar store or something, and as you open stuff, just put it into there. Like this is all parachute stuff and bumper stuff. Makes it super simple. I got a couple for the 240. I kind of store them on a little old shoe rack that I had, and it just makes it really easy instead of sitting there thinking, oh, what are these for? Nice and simple. I think it's about time for bead locks. So let's find it. This is the mark I made. And over here is where the tire ended up. So basically 180 degrees. That's pretty wild. That was only 2 or 3 passes, I think. So it's definitely doing some spinning. That's probably part of my 60-foot issue. You can see I got the work boots on. Also, the parachute mount is on. I drilled a pretty big hole there because it didn't really matter because the license plate goes over it anyways. The license plate one will be like really nice and clean and perfect, but you just have to slide it in there and then you can reach behind it and tighten it in, which is really awesome that you can just remove it that easily. But we're gonna have to do some modifications to the parachute because, like I showed, I got a mix of 2 kits. So, gonna have to start doing some fab engineering that I don't know how to do. Get that to mate with this guy. Make something happen. All right, I'm gonna leave it at that now. Been wearing my safety glasses all day because this car has so much dirt that literally just falls right into my eyes, just directly from car into eyes. So, safety glasses on. But that'll do it for today's video, guys. We got a lot done on the car, got a lot figured out. The welder setup is so awesome. I can't wait to have somebody come out and show me what to do with it. And then we can really start making some cool stuff. But thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.